Welcome to my very strange edition of Poetry Night in the middle of December. It's December 13th, and I'm gonna read you guys some poetry. Or like descriptive small little snippets of stories. Whichever one you'd like to classify it as, really. Those words of yours. I am a river of words, a sailboat in the wind, helpless in my own regard, defenseless. I am fragile in the worst way, quick to sink, a leak that has been seen. Words of a river come rushing and rocking the boat. I can no longer stay afloat. That's the first one. Things I don't like. I don't like the way you look at me with cold, bare eyes. I wish you see me through a tinted lens, slightly green, so you don't feel alarmed. I mean no harm, but your gaze is fixed with ill intent. So I am red. Things I don't like. I don't like the way you ask. You always pause. Are you sure? Are you sure? I say again with a pause more passionate than yours. Things I don't like. I don't like the way you call on the sun when I beg for your hand, and suddenly I'm 5 years old again, being told that a toy is to be unfitted for me. That drives a hole in my soul. Things you don't like. Listen closely. You don't like the way I cut my hair. You don't like my name. You don't like my pastel colored flag. Things you don't like. Things I love. It doesn't have a name, but at the same time, I think it's just, bittersweet. My head sits low as I watch my body hang under me. A weight of what I have done presses on. My chest, leaving marks on my skin. I am a guilty man, for I am my own punisher. Ignore the sting as I sit next to those who are less guilty of my crime. Sometimes I wonder what it's like to live in a world of calmness where buzzing and stinging has no singing. Or buzzing and stinging does no singing. Right? So, yeah, right. High five. Bah. I did that. You have to admit, I ate that bit. I took a topic and I made it gold. You have to admit that. The diner. I sit in a window, all my thoughts dancing together below. Jiminy the cricket is at work, pulling the string. Hop, hop, there goes my leg below. I love my dad. I want my dad to be happy, because every time I cried, he was there. He said we could figure it out. We could figure it out later. What was going on later? I want my dad to be happy because I saw him on the floor and I was scared that was it. I want my dad to be happy. I want him to be so very proud of me. I want my dad to be happy because when you love someone, you want them to know. So when I say on those days, I love you, Dad, I want you to know, I love you, Dad. I want my dad to be happy. And that's why when I come home and I ask, how was work? I want my dad to be happy. So I'll ask again today, how was work? The scariest day of my life. I remember the very specific day you banged on the door. What's wrong? I waited to respond. Because even when you yell, I know how you felt. So instead, I show restraint so that you might not fright. Growing up, I don't know how I feel. I don't cry over spilled milk. But life's a game of give and take. It's the oven that bakes the cake. You're whipped into shape, and you learn the more you go. And finally, when the cake is done, you cool it off and ice it. You make sure every detail is as good as it can be. It looks nice for those who are curious to know. Who is that person? What's their story? My story is eggs, oil, butter, milk, and just a little box that writes strawberry cake. And if they like it, they'll put it on their plate. Now you have a date, and in a couple of hours, that'll expire too. Unless you renew it and become brand new. Stacked with 2 extra layers of white. If you don't get it, I'm saying life's a process. You're growing the more you learn, and there's tons of aspects that you come into forming who you are as a person. And I wanted to put that in a poem, and then I was like, you know what? Let's throw dating into the mix. So there's tons of things that go on. It's you'll go on dates, you're searching for your right person, and if someone likes you, they'll put you on their plate, which means they'll take you into their life as well. And pretty much. And if they like you, if they like what they have on their plate, they'll add 2 extra layers of white, meaning that they'll make you a wedding cake. Do you get it? Because wedding cakes are typically 3 layers, 3-layer cakes. Yeah, they're typically 3-layer cakes, and they're typically white icing. So I wanted to do something nice. I'm really proud of that one. In my bed. I don't want to get out of bed. I hide myself under a clothless shadow, praying for my problems to go away. They asked, "Are you out of bed?" I lied, trying to find a reason to explain my seasonal disease. I don't think seasonal depression is a disease, but I couldn't find a word that rhymed with it, and I just kind of went with this. I wrote this I wrote this last year actually, and I just needed to get out the feeling I was experiencing while I was in bed, and I wrote that. So yeah. The silent girl. A steamy scent of betrayal under the vascular veil covering her. Here begins the tale. Born into a world where every word she speaks was never spoken. Every thought she thinks bleeds through her eyes like red ink. She's invisible and expected to be indestructible. What is a gentleman? My eyes cry without me. A guilty conscience of a man. I'm not a gentleman. To be a gentleman, you must be soft as a feather and sweet as a flower. As the tale goes, I am more of a classy wine, bitter but sweet, smooth but rough, the top shelf that hurts your hands but pleases your stomach. I wouldn't dare, but others might give it a stare. Hurts your hand, pleases your stomach. Meaning it costs a lot of money, burns your hands. It costs them a lot of money to get it. But, at the end of the day, you'll be like, oh, I had a fun time. And I was like, oh, this is really high quality wine. So it's hard to get because it costs a lot of money, but you'll be satisfied. Meaning oh, all right. Meaning oh, this is actually a good person. This is actually one I wrote just a few days ago. I'm distracted. I'm distracted, and not just because the cold rubs me the wrong way and my back doesn't sit on the earth's axis. I'm distracted because fair eyes glare in my direction. They stand unwavering, meet in my direction. Brown hues fuel the room, but the teacher is still teaching. I am distracted, and yet proud to be distracted, like a knight on a hill. I see everything, yet I'm distracted by the fact that our eyes don't meet. I was in chem class. By chem, I mean chemistry. I was in chemistry. And yeah, I was distracted. So yeah, I was like, yeah, my back hurts, bro. Like I'm sitting on a chair that doesn't have a back like that one. And it's cold in this classroom, but I'm not distracted because of that. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. This is one I just wrote like maybe 5 hours ago. Something. Because it's random. I saw a hair. It was like a pretty long hair on my desk in reading class, and I was like, bro, that's a long strand of hair. And then I wrote this. Isn't that like tea? Isn't that cool? Cool-ish? Not completely. It's mint. It's mint. But I wrote it anyway. So, something. The hair on the desk stands for the girl that never was. Leave it behind a piece of her, frail and gray, which, just so you know, did the opposite of make my day. I felt that risk. What if I miss? And it sticks to my fabric. This is not a recording disc. This is real. Cool. That was it for my poetry. I'll probably think about doing another something. A stream just started, so I hope you guys enjoyed this little this poetry bit, I guess. And I'll see you guys maybe soon, because I got tons of ideas, bro. I'm trying to make this like something I do for fun, so I'm hoping I really do that. Also, does my face look good? I'm only bringing this up because like I did something, bro, and it wasn't anything bad. I just tried new. I'm gotta go. Peace and love, my beautiful people. I love you all. Bye.